Bible tells us very clearly how we can be rewarded by God. And I'm not talking about rewarded someday while in heaven. I'm talking about being rewarded here while on earth. God promises that if we do one thing, He will reward us. Keep watching to find out what that one thing is and how you can be rewarded. There are a number of different places throughout the Bible where God explains this promise, that if people will do this one thing, He will reward them. In this video, I'm going to look at two of those passages. The first one is Hebrews 11, verse 6. Hebrews 11, verse 6. And without faith it is impossible to please Him, for whoever would draw near to God must believe that He exists, and that He rewards those who seek Him. So there it is. Did you catch it? God rewards those who seek Him. So what does it mean to seek God? I think there are primarily two ways that we seek God. The first is by praying to God, and the second is by studying His Word, that is the Bible. So seeking God really is a function of prayer and meditating on God's Word. So let me ask you this. Do you set aside time in your day to do those two things? And I'm not talking about, well, if I have time, I'll read a verse before I go to bed and I'll pray before I fall asleep. I'm not talking about reading a verse on your phone when you're bored. I'm not talking about leftover time. I'm talking about specific, consistent time each day you spend in prayer and in studying the Bible. I'm talking about making those two things a priority, which means you may end up sacrificing other parts of your day so that you can do those two things. Less sleep, less time in front of the TV, less time with people you love so that you can pray and study the Bible. I'm talking about making those things a priority, having a commitment to them, having a diligence around them so that you do them each and every day. If you're not doing these things, then start. Start small. Start with 5 minutes. The important thing is that you start doing them and that you schedule them. Treat them like an appointment or a meeting so that you're doing them consistently. So if God rewards those who study His Bible and pray, the next natural question is, what is that reward? Now, this reward is discussed a number of different times and places throughout the Bible. The passage I'm going to be talking about is Deuteronomy 4, verse 29. And that's said to Israelites. And a very fair question is, does the reward discussed in Deuteronomy 4, verse 29 apply to us today, or does it only apply to the Israelites? I'll include a number of different Bible references in the video description below that explain and show that this promise is mentioned and given throughout both the Old Testament and the New Testament. So I believe that this passage applies to us today as well as the Israelites. Deuteronomy 4, verse 29. But from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find Him, if you search after Him with all your heart and with all your soul. So the reward that God gives to those who diligently seek Him is Himself. God reveals Himself to those who diligently seek Him. Now let me ask you this. What is your reaction to that reward? If it's, no, well, I was really hoping for something else, that's very revealing. You may want to spend some time contemplating that reaction. I know for myself, I've had to ask, what is it that I'd really rather have than knowing more about God? So my recommendation is pretty obvious. Set aside time in your day to pray and to study the Bible. Start small if you have to, but prioritize those two things. And the reward you will receive from that is knowing God. You will find God. What greater reward is there than that? If you're not motivated by that reward, then seek God anyway. You'll find that by praying to Him and by studying His Word, you will recognize the incredible reward that it is to know God. That is, by seeking God, you'll want to know God. My name is Christopher, and I hope this video has been helpful in answering the question, how can I be rewarded by God? Or how can I get God's blessing? So what did you think? Let me know in the comments below.